4. Education and learning. B2. Education plays a crucial role in modern society because it influences people's careers, opportunities, and personal development. Nowadays, learning is no longer limited to schools or universities because technology has completely transformed the educational system. People can study online, attend virtual courses, and access enormous amounts of information from anywhere in the world. Personally, education has always been important in my life. I studied at school, then at a technical college, and later at university. My favorite subjects were physics and mathematics because they develop logical thinking and problem-solving skills. I have always enjoyed understanding how systems work, analyzing processes, and finding practical solutions. At school, I especially appreciated teachers who could explain complicated topics clearly and enthusiastically. Unfortunately, not every lesson was engaging. Some teachers simply followed textbooks mechanically, so students lost motivation quickly. In my opinion, the quality of education depends not only on the curriculum, but also on the teacher's ability to inspire students. Years ago, education used to be much stricter and more traditional. Students were expected to memorize huge amounts of information, and lessons were often teacher-centered. Technology hardly existed in classrooms, so pupils relied mainly on printed books and handwritten notes. Nowadays, the situation has changed dramatically. Digital tools, interactive platforms, and online learning systems have become normal parts of education. During the pandemic, for example, millions of students were forced to continue studying remotely. As a result, online education developed much faster than before. Online learning has several significant advantages. First of all, it provides flexibility. Students can study from home, organize their schedules independently, and access educational materials whenever necessary. Furthermore, online courses often cost less than traditional education. Another benefit is accessibility. People living in smaller towns or even different countries can study at international universities without relocating. In addition, online learning allows students to combine studies with work more easily. Personally, I believe this flexibility is extremely useful for adults who want to improve professional qualifications. However, online education also has disadvantages. Some students struggle with self-discipline because studying from home requires strong motivation and concentration. Moreover, virtual lessons cannot fully replace real interaction with teachers and classmates. Communication becomes less natural, and teamwork may suffer. I also believe that certain subjects should be taught face-to-face whenever possible. For instance, technical and scientific disciplines often require practical laboratories, experiments, or direct demonstrations. Physics and mathematics become easier to understand when teachers explain formulas and concepts directly in class. Another issue concerns the education system itself. In many countries, students experience enormous pressure because exams and grades are considered more important than actual understanding. Some pupils memorize information only to pass tests and later forget everything. In my view, education should focus more on practical thinking, creativity, and real-life problem solving. At the same time, modern education has become more flexible and diverse. Students can now choose specialized courses, learn foreign languages online, or even change careers later in life. Years ago, people used to remain in the same profession for decades, whereas today continuous learning has become essential. This is especially true in technological professions. In fields connected with IT, engineering, or science, information changes rapidly. Some technologies that had been considered advanced a few years ago are already outdated today. Therefore, specialists must constantly update their knowledge and skills. Personally, I still continue learning regularly because professional development never truly ends. Online platforms, technical documentation, and practical projects help me improve continuously. In fact, self-education has become almost as important as formal university education. Looking into the future, education will probably become even more digital and personalized. Artificial intelligence may help students study at their own pace, while virtual reality could create interactive lessons and simulations. Nevertheless, teachers will still remain important because technology cannot fully replace human support, communication, and emotional understanding. If governments invest more in modern educational systems, future generations may receive much more practical and effective education. At the same time, students themselves should understand that learning requires effort and responsibility. Knowledge cannot simply be downloaded into somebody's brain instantly, can it? To sum up, education is one of the most valuable investments in life. Although modern technology has transformed learning dramatically, the importance of education remains unchanged. In my opinion, successful education should combine traditional knowledge, practical skills, and modern digital opportunities. If people continue learning throughout their lives, they will have far greater opportunities, both professionally and personally.